Hello, beautiful souls. Today, I want to talk to you about blockages in your energy that prevents your flow of abundance. And this may be some new information. It may be things that you've heard of vaguely, but never really dipped into. But the downloads for this session that has been created at violetlotusenergy.com came by the way of assisting others with some um, abundance blockages. And it just came in really, really strongly that this needed to be addressed because it's not really about, or it's not only about those that don't have a comma in their bank account, right? This is also beings who actually have um, substantial wealth, you would say, or even adequate wealth, but they live in their energy body in a lack mindset or a poverty mindset. And it affects the choices that they make in their life. And so there's lots of things to address. So let's get into it. As we take on the individual ascension that we came here to do, we came here to remember, wake up, and ascend. Not everyone has been able to do that yet, more every day. But as we do that, we have our own spiritual accountability, right? And it is multifaceted and a part of a woven tapestry of all sorts of our shadows and our light and everything in between that is providing opportunities for us to grow. So there are energy blocks to abundance. There are soul contracts to poverty. There are contracts and agreements that put ourselves in a way that our energy is blocked from receiving the abundance that we deserve. That is similar to a negative distortion that someone has thrown on you, has intentionally placed on your energy body. And you're unaware. You have no idea. It can be that you have one of these things. It could be that you have all of these things. So the only way to know is to ask. And it really becomes part of your energy hygiene that you maintain. Because we don't control other people, you can block a being's energy, but you can't stop their free will choice. If they continue to choose to use their energy to send you poverty spells, to put curses, hexes, and spells on every single thing that you put your good energy into. As an example, my book, Sold or Soulless on Amazon, we have to work really, really hard to keep it clear and to keep Amazon clear. And we fail at that sometimes because it seems that there's always some entity that wants to put a new repeating spell on that. And what happens is beings can find the book and they can order the book, but the orders don't show up. They don't manifest on the abundance side. So there's been lots of books that have been purchased and no proceeds are shown. It's as if no sales were made. And I physically know the beings in life that order them. They get them in the mail and I'm like, okay, I'm glad you got your book. And that is true. I'm glad they got it. I'm glad that part of it isn't spell casted, that people can actually receive the item, but they put negative incantations on it so that I don't receive the abundance of the sale of that item. You see, it is specific for poverty. It is specific target of the flow of abundance. So I put forth the effort, I put forth the work, I generate the item, I put forth the energy, and then another being comes in and intercedes in that, and that return flow from the universe. Same thing with lots of my video content. We spend hours sometimes going through my catalog library of content and cleaning up what people have put on my videos in terms of spells, hexes, and incantations. just to dismay others from watching the truth. You know, I've always said, like, it's a nod that the information I'm putting out there is good and it is vital. It's important because they work really hard at keeping it on the down low. They keep it hard to find. They make it corrupted where you can't hear it. All sorts of things. All sorts of things. I don't put anything past them that they won't think of. But we are pretty good at detecting their fuckery. So it could be, like I said, it could be one thing. It could be all the things. It can be things that we haven't even detected yet. But we endeavor to find all the aspects that impede someone's flow of abundance so it can be transmuted and transformed to open things up because you are worthy, you are deserving, you have earned this many, many lives ago, usually. So over the last couple years, as soon as I took on this mission to do this full time, there was a huge amount of faith in that decision, right? Because I was literally deciding that I was never going to have a paycheck again. I left my career. I left the only thing that I knew to do in that moment. And I picked up the mantle of carrying forth this mission and doing it to the best of my ability 100% of the time. And I have. September 2022 was my last paycheck. And I knew that Source and Mother Sophia were going to take care of me. And I don't mean lavishing me and a higher than necessary status. No, my needs are met. I'm safe. Like, you know, when you talk about the 7 natural needs, air, water, shelter, food, sleep, meaningful relationships, and creativity, I have all my needs met. Nothing above and beyond. And I am grateful. But that takes a lot of shadow work to get there. It takes a lot of shadow work to get to the place where you can speak about being the target of malevolent beings attacking you and disrupting your flow of abundance in a loving, forgiving, and gracious way. Because I am gracious. I am very grateful that I now know what I know about these things, because this time, like 2 years ago, I didn't know what all this was. I didn't know it could be done to beings. I didn't know that so many dipped into dark magic and wanted to actually cause harm to others. But now I do. Now I know. So now I make better choices. So as I provided information that literally came through me from Source Creator, Mother Sophia, all the Ascendant Masters, many of the archangels, they deliver to me in the now moment what needs to be shared out. Lots of times, my videos in the very beginning, people were not ready for that information to come out. I even doubted if I was ready to deliver it because I was learning as I was putting forth this information. But I endeavored to do it with clear intent and a pure heart. And so that information, although I did it with clear intent and a pure heart and a clear soul, wasn't received well by the darkness. They didn't want you to know the truth of those things. They didn't want you to realize you could take your power back. They didn't want you to realize how to do inventory of your vortex and get the soulless beings to stop siphoning off your energy. So I didn't understand how treacherous that was going to be. I really expected the blowback of, you know, the religious fanatics and that kind of stuff. And those that really didn't want to receive in new information that made them uncomfortable. That's what I was prepared to receive. I wasn't prepared to receive spells and curses and hexes and psychic attacks because I was delivering truth. That was a whole nother level of really experiencing this journey. So if you are there, I completely empathize. Don't stay a victim. There are many, many things you can do. So there's been repeating spells. There's been poverty curses and hexes. There's been things that are time triggered, event triggered, word triggered. So it's multifaceted, the words that they use in their incantations to try and disrupt the positive energy from going out. But we aren't giving up anytime soon. So I do understand that there are deep shadows in the collective when it comes to all things abundance, like all things money, right? If you think about just your life, your existence, what is your perception of what money has done for you, or how has money worked against you in your life, or like have you been manipulated via money? There's a lot of things that we actually also bring into this life from ancestral contracts, ancestral wounds, ancestral bindings that have been placed on us. So, for instance, you could have been in a negative polarity existence or incarnation, and beings did not like that you were maybe the tax collector, or some way, shape, or form you had a negative polarity life. You had to do things in that life per your soul contract and your free will choices that caused harm to others. Well, those others could also cause harm back to you in an incantation that stays with your energy body, aka your soul, throughout multiple successive incarnations. So this is things that it's worth asking. It's worth dipping into instead of just wallowing in your victimhood. Like, I can never get ahead, or I can never make any considerable wealth, or every time I get a little bit, I get knocked back down. Like, those are full disempowering feelings, emotions, energies, words, and you're calling that back into your vortex. So there's a whole unlearning and relearning of the vocabulary. So yeah, we developed a new session. It's called the Abundance Restoration Session. And the things that will be addressed, I will cover. How do you think about money? Believing that you're worthy or not. That's a huge one in the collective. Trust issues regarding money, and gratitude. That's way underserved in regards to abundance, flow of abundance, access to abundance. What are your subconscious beliefs or limiting beliefs in terms of creating abundance, co-creating abundance? How does your ego-driven concerns, fears, and emotions manipulate you from the inside that affect you negatively regarding abundance? Non-serving habits about money. Like, what is it that you're habitually doing because you picked up these habits? It's usually picked up from familial lessons, things maybe that your grandfather did, or your mother or father did, or your uncle did, and it made a lasting impression on you, and you're still doing it today, although you've evolved way beyond where that being was. Energy depletion, void, and reallocation. So this is when you are working your ass off because you try to get ahead, and you become so completely burnt out that you have no energy left to live. So you are working so that you can live, and then you deplete your energy so much that by the time you have time off, you're spent. You're not doing anything that is enjoying life. Does that sound familiar? I used to work extra to pay for my vacations, my trips. I always wanted to bank that money ahead of time so that it wasn't being put on a credit card or something like that. And inevitably, I would work 12-hour shifts in a row, 16 12-hour shifts in a row, doubles, all sorts of really cruel things against my body in order to pay for trips and vacations. And I would overdo it so much that the first full 24 hours off, I was in the bed, so tired, sick. I would, my body was trying to recover. So I would have aches and pains. Sometimes I'd be purging all kinds of stuff through my sinuses, or my gut would be very upset because I had not taken care of myself, and I had overdone it so much so for this goal that I had set to pay cash basically for a vacation. And there was so much out of balance energetically that I suffered for it. Co-creative environment. That is going to address the environment that you choose to be in and surround yourself. So your home, what kind of frequency is there? Are you always being attacked? Is it a really negative polarity type place? Are you like the dove in the darkness, the bright light? Or is it pretty supportive and you find more balance there? That'll be addressed. Meaningful relationships. Meaningful relationships are really important because it feeds our soul. It feeds the essence of our being. When you talk to successful people, so let me air quote success, they have a lot of money in the bank. They have a lot of cars in the driveway. They have big homes. They have vacation homes. They do all the things and they have all the stuff. And then they talk to you about their purpose in life. And you go, well, but you've amassed this huge amount of wealth and abundance, and you have all these followers and you have all these things, and every time you go somewhere there's like an entourage with you. So what are you talking about your purpose in life? You did all that without knowing your purpose in life? And they would, if they're honest, they would say, I don't know that I've ever done anything for my life's purpose. I did it out of greed or because it was expected of me or whatever the case. You don't normally hear from them say, yes, I amassed all this because I was following my dreams. Now, some do, but they usually go through lots of failures before they get there. So what kind of meaningful relationship do you have that you also embody a positive mindset, a positive energy about money? Disempowering words and habits. There's a lot of people that just talk, they put out in their own vortex so many disempowering words. I'm always broke. I don't have two nickels to rub together. They make light of it, but the universe doesn't recognize jokes. The universe recognizes energy. So when you're talking down about yourself, you're using negative words and you're using words that have negative energy and low frequency energy attached to it. It's like those are the plants that you're planting all around you, and they will give you back what they are, what you created. You co-created them to be low vibratory, to be low frequency. So you're surrounding yourself in that. So you have to be your own best friend, and you have to be an active advocate for empowering words and using words that are positive. Judging, projecting, and making assumptions when it comes to money. This has always been an issue in the collective, and you can see any number of movies that have been made to illustrate this. And successful TV series, like Undercover Boss and stuff like that, where you get somebody that looks really downtrodden and that they're struggling in life. They may not have what others call anything, possessions, worldly possessions, and there's judgments placed upon them. Someone may talk with an accent, and there's judgments and assumptions made upon their IQ. That's happened to me plenty of times when I allow myself to share that Southern accent that I grew up with. But I didn't appreciate the bias and the judgment that I received when I allowed that accent to be shared. And so I work really hard for it to not be a part of what people focus on in my delivery and in my life. Self-sabotage. You can have everything really in alignment in your life, and you yourself throw a wrench in your plan because you're more comfortable self-sabotaging this because you just expect to fail than being caught unaware or made a fool of and you fail, but you try legitimately and other people point that out to you. That's all comes back to your ego. Vulnerability, validation, and forgiveness. When we allow ourselves to truly be in a state of vulnerability, it's not so much that you're like, out there just spread eagle for anyone to just, come and attack you. That's not the vulnerability that I'm speaking of. I'm speaking of letting down your guard and fully accepting that although you may be fearful and we don't have any guarantee about the outcome, we are going to be allowing ourselves the vulnerability, this to be in the space of vulnerability, but yet we're going to have our clear, pure intentions, and we're going to put forth as much positive energy and effort as we can to seeing this thing through. So you face your fear. And in those moments is when we rise above. It's whenever we actually see what we're made of, feel what we're made of. And then we have turned pain into purpose, and we are seeing progression in our journey versus stagnation. No one is perfect. Accountability for far more than just the money. So in life, you've probably encountered plenty of people that in their wake, there's just disaster after disaster, emotionally, spiritually, family. In life, they make bad decisions. And when they realize that this decision has harmed someone, they throw money at it instead of doing the spiritual work of reconciling that and making amends and learning from it and then not doing it again, right? And so being accountable for more than just what your money can buy is huge. So that being has to step outside of the bank account and experience life in a vulnerable way. And aligned manifestation. So you don't want to rob yourself of manifesting your deserved abundance because you use disempowering words. You invite in beings that are going to sabotage things for you. Maybe you're not self-sabotaging, but you're allowing those that you know your gut is telling you, not in your highest and best good, but you're keeping them involved, and they are definitely taking advantage of you. So this session is going to be delivered in an affordable way. It's all remote. It's geared to be multiple sessions. It's repeatable every 21 days until the desired results have been achieved, with supportive guidance between the sessions and after, for the long haul. Of course, based upon free will choice and participation. So the initial session, because of the energy scan and the setup and all of that, is going to be a little bit more than the rest of them, but still very convenient, very affordable. So a session 1 is $88, and then sessions 2 and on are $55 each for energy exchange. These can be booked on Violet Lotus Energy. The session is there now. Scroll all the way to the bottom and you'll see Abundance Restoration. I believe it says like price varies. That's why whenever you have two different or more than one energy exchange option, it's going to say price varies. But that's the thing. The first one is $88. The subsequent ones are $55. You can do a package where you pay, and then over the course of 5 to 6 weeks, you can get those sessions done sequentially. And as always, a QET is required. So if you haven't had your QET, get your QET first. And then once that has integrated after 7 days, you can start to get the customized sessions. In the QET, a small amount of wealth or abundance related blockages are addressed, but I've never had a session strictly for abundance healing. And that has now been created. It's actually really in depth, and it's super timely because the golden age of miracles is upon us. The golden age of miracles is here. I want you to think about that, where our currency is asset backed and our goal is unity. We're leaving duality. So this is a perfect time to unlearn what no longer serves you and learn what truly does serve your soul's essence. It's time to heal your relationships that you've had regarding money. I know when I first heard that years ago, I was like, my relationship with money is like a one night stand. I have it and then it's gone. I don't want anyone to feel like I have all the answers regarding finances, because that's not what this is about. This is absolutely not about how much money you have or don't have. This is not about investing or like any of that type of traditional financial advice. This is about the energy of your being and how you interact with the energy of money. There are civilizations that have evolved beyond a currency. Did you know that? So, higher consciousness beings mostly don't use any form of currency. They, all things are provided because what matters most is actually honored. And the duality planet that we've all grown up on, that's not what it was about. And as the planet evolves, we are guided to evolve with it. And this is a major component and a major aspect of your own individual ascension and the evolution of that journey and how it plays out. I invite you to think about this session and see it as a way to remove the hurdles that are keeping you from your well-deserved abundance stream. I look forward to seeing you again next time.